why addiction really is not a disease, because if you have to go out, you have to bust your butt, like even in an 8-hour day, okay, just to make the money to go buy drugs, or you have to steal something to buy drugs, that becomes a choice and an urge that you're not denying. So it's about discipline and insecurities. And if there's people that are around doing the things that you have a problem with, okay, then you want to hang out with the group. So, that's about discipline and insecurity, that you can't find happiness elsewhere with different people. Because there's people that do substance and stuff, and they don't have a problem with it, and they don't go over the limit. But the people that say it's a disease, they go over the limit where they can't hold their lives together, and they get to the point where their body starts reacting because they've been selfish against their body within their mindset and ego, to be insecure on the emotion that they're not cool, they're not hanging out, they don't like life, and they're not feeling good. So the discipline to have the drive and keep your dreams alive that don't have anything to do with substance really is lacking. And there's also a lot of people that sideline the issue by going to another substance or another form of the substance. And this is the same thing. So, when it comes to cigarettes, try taking cigarettes away from somebody. See that they'll go mad. And if they chew gum that's nicotine, they're just sidelining it. So instead of the needle for heroin, they're going to the snortable version of heroin, or then they go to the pill version of heroin. So it's like people are just jogging around, sidelining the issue, that they don't want to take the responsibility to have the self-discipline for themselves and address their insecurities and say, okay, well, this is life, and if I want to make a change, then I have to do this and this. I can't just be, So realistically, I don't believe addiction is a disease, but once it reaches to a point where your body's checking out, you really need to check yourself out. And if you have discipline and you change your crowd or your peers and the group you're around, you'll find that there's a better way. Because say all those people that you're hanging out with, that just take drinking for example. If all those people were at a barbecue or at a bar had a day where it's like, okay, after New Year's, everybody's resolution, a lot of people, is to quit drinking. So, it's like, okay, let's have one morning or one day after New Year's where it's a dry day. So at least people will have something like that. And I tried presenting this to a bar owner that I did some artwork for in Cypress Creek. And, he was like, oh, that's counterproductive to my mission. But meanwhile, he on Facebook is sitting there showing off his motorcycles and his new homes and stuff and bragging about how he's sober for all these years. Yeah, same friends that he had when he's hanging out with that go there to see him, they're feeding him money for drinks. So it's like, in a context, it becomes a social clique, okay? It becomes a running away from reality and stuff like that. And then the people that are addicts or that choose to stay around in the areas and, of addiction and stuff, they're just out on the outskirts, always looking in. So really, they're still feeding their ego and emotions by being a part of the same thing and around the same people because that's what they like. Okay, and they support themselves like that. And then, then they'll see somebody with one drink and say, oh, that's bad. See somebody smoking a joint, oh, that's bad, I mean, to be honest with you, why don't you have a card for people that smoke cigarettes? Why don't you have a card for people that have alcohol and like to consume alcohol? Why don't you have a timeline and a check-in point where people that are on prescription drugs, where it says you shouldn't operate a vehicle or go to work in certain jobs, and say, okay, well, let's check these people out. Johnny over there, he's on Xanax, and he's not supposed to be driving between these hours and these hours because that's when he's supposed to take his medication. But yet you want to have cards for weed, okay, and you want to take people to jail for mushrooms and shit, and you want to be like all coming against those people. So, no, it doesn't flow like that. And insurance companies and stuff that cater to that addiction, you got to wait until somebody's body checks out and let them go to the emergency room. I'm sorry, you can call me a bastard, you can call me an asshole, you can call me evil man, but you know what, we all have choices to make, and it's very easy just to decide to do nothing and continue the same thing. But at the end of the day, if you're going to go work 8 or 10 hours, okay, or risk your life going to jail to steal something from your own family so you can sell it and get the same money, and then go to a place where you don't know who the person is and exchange that money for substance, and as the night goes on, you don't even care what's in those little bags. And, you're like, oh, I need more, I want more, and then you spend your paycheck and you're like, So, then you revert to the drink or something else, and it's just ridiculous. And, I don't speak for everybody, but I speak against a lot of people, because I do know people that hold this shit together, and they're very casual with things. I don't have a problem with that. And I think it's a very biased, prejudiced, discriminating fucking circumstance, especially when the people with cigarettes, alcohol, and prescription pills are watching their friends go to jail for weed and mushrooms. A bunch of pussies. Anyway, yeah, I can curse because that's the subject. You're around illicit things and lowering your inhibitions because you have social structure problems and insecurities, and your ego won't let you, change your audience or be cool or accept things that you don't want to accept. So, you take the drug so you can become someone else. So, no, it's really not a disease.